Hey, what's going on YouTube? Stygian here. In today's video, I'm basically going to be showcasing how to prepare yourself and your account for the release of World Tier 5 in the Division 2, which releases on April the 5th. And some of the things you will need to, do inside the game, as well as how to best prepare yourself for the release of World Tier 5 to where you'll be able to get the most amount of gear score possible as soon as it launches and even unlock some of those new gear sets. To get the video started off, this is going to be a much more informative video, as it's going to be telling you, what to do with the multiple characters that you make, how to prepare them for the release of World Tier 5 and things like that. So basically, just to get it started off, or a brief summary, is you would definitely want to make all 4 characters. I would strongly suggest that you have one character as your main that you're going to be spending most of your time on, and also upgrading your crafting bench to maximum, and then the other 3 characters would basically just be, kind of gear mules, to where you're able to dump a whole lot of gear off on them. Now, some things to keep in mind when you are making multiple characters is that you need to know a couple things. First off, your weapon mods from your main character do not carry over onto any of your other characters. So you have to completely refarm those weapon mods, as well as your crafting resources are completely separate per character. So you're basically just gonna have to farm a lot on every single character if you want to get them to where that first character is. So now we're going to get into the aspect of, what you should do on each character, as well as how you should prepare each character's, crafting bench and stuff like that. So for the first character, your main character, you definitely want to, try to get all the mods as possible in the game from doing level 3 control points. Now, I have come to find out that the mods do cap out at some point. So let's say, you're playing, you keep getting mods, and all of a sudden you're not getting any more mods. It's because it appears that the developers have chosen to lock the rest of the mods in World Tier 5, or it's currently bugged. I'm honestly not too sure what the case is, but I do know that having the most amount of mods going into World Tier 5 is going to benefit you so much when you're constantly upgrading your gear, upgrading your weapons. You're going to have a whole bunch of weapon mod attachments and things like that. Another thing to keep in mind is, for your first character, you want to have a maxed out crafting bench, because the rest of your characters you make are going to be completely gear mules. You don't even want to touch their crafting bench, because you can actually have low tier mods. So you could basically have blue mods, and with those blue mods you could craft those blue mods, and you could put them on your main character, who, let's say, you're not going for a high skill power build with all these yellow mods. So you could have blue mods on your first character and still get those bonuses to the skills you're using without having to spec so high into skill power. Another thing you want to keep in mind when you are making multiple characters is that your crafting resources do not carry over between characters. So it is very important to try to max out all your crafting resources, so that being titanium, carbon fiber, steel, printer filaments, things like those, going into World Tier 5. So when you get blueprints for more weapon mods, or you get blueprints for more gear pieces you can craft, it'll be very good to have resources that will allow you to craft those weapon mods and gear pieces as soon as World Tier 5 releases on your main character. In my opinion, I don't really think it's going to be very worth it to max out your crafting bench on your other characters, because, like I said, you could basically just use them as gear mules. If you want to, you could farm all the mods, all the weapon mods on your other characters, but that's going to take a lot of time. If that's time you want to invest, feel free to do so, but personally, in my opinion, it doesn't really seem to be worth it entirely, since the other characters are just going to be gear mules, for hoarding gear, storing gear, things like that. So to do a summary or a recap, guys, basically you want to go ahead and make all 4 characters right off the bat. You want to max them out in the world tier system, get everybody to tier 4, and then after that you want to make sure that you have 3 designated characters to be your gear mules. So by gear mules, I mean make sure you have as much inventory space on them as possible. It's okay if you leave things in the stash, you can share stash items between all your characters. And then, as well as, make sure for those 3 characters on the crafting bench, I would say to not level the crafting bench at all. Make sure you buy the blue blueprint mods from the White House vendor, as well as You can farm up some crafting resources on them if you want. Like basically you could have characters ready for, you know, like a big crafting patch that comes out if you want to. I definitely recommend it, but remember, on your main character, that is going to be the character you want to put the most amount of time into, as well as upgrading the crafting bench all the way maxed out to World Tier 4, and then when World Tier 5 drops, go ahead and max that out as well. Another thing to keep in mind, guys, the main reason you honestly want to make 4 characters is simply because of the weekly challenges and the weekly activities that we're going to be able to complete once World Tier 5 releases. And through completing these weekly challenges and weekly activities, we're going to have chances at getting, you know, set pieces from 3 of the new gear sets that the developers are releasing with the release of World Tier 5. So obviously the more characters you have, the more chances you have at getting, you know, these gear sets. So you can just swap them between all your characters, you know, all the time. You can get multiple gear sets, you know, immediately as the game launch, or as immediately as the patch launches on April the 5th, almost instantly in the first week, just by having multiple characters. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope y'all found this video very informative on how to prepare yourself for World Tier 5. And honestly, I am super excited for the release of World Tier 5. We get the new Stronghold, we get access to the gear sets, we get the release of World Tier 5, we get the heroic difficulty. You know, there's a whole bunch of content coming our way still, so I'm pretty happy. So be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more Division 2 content. In the coming days, you know, I'll be releasing a couple more guides, and then I'll be really hitting it hard as soon as World Tier 5 releases in terms of content dropping on the YouTube channel. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you again for coming to watch the video. Anyways, peace out.